So, have you ever watched this amazing movie for 3 hours and you come out of the movie theater and you feel like 3 hours have gone by like this within 3 minutes? And sometimes you'll be out on an amazing date with a partner, you'll be out on a vacation spot, you'll be out exploring the city, for 6, 7 hours, and then you pull up your watch, 8 hours have passed by. You're like, what the hell? You didn't really need food. You didn't really need any rest. You're kind of just vibing there. You kind of loved being in that moment. Sometimes, even when you're putting yourself in some kind of creative work, or even your work, whatever you're passionate about, whatever you're truly passionate about, when doing those things, time just ceases to exist. You don't need no sleep. You don't need food. You don't need any form of entertainment. It's like you're completely focused and everything kind of seems to fade away, ceases to exist. You're not worrying about the future. You're not thinking about the past, all the bad things that happened to you, all the emotions, all the bad, kind of painful emotions. It kind of fade away at that moment. And at that moment, like everything just flows naturally. Like you're not even thinking, but somehow your output into that work, or even if you're talking to somebody that you really love in a relationship, your family member, your relatives, you're talking to them. You don't really need a script to talk to your family members. You're talking and things are just flowing, and both of you are having this amazing time, and you talk to them for 6 hours and you don't really feel 6 hours have passed by. And that is what I call flow state. Quote unquote flow state is basically when you kind of tap into that pocket space where time ceases to exist. And now this happens only when you have complete passion, only when you kind of feel love, or kind of you feel pleasure while doing whatever you're doing. Like you may be talking, you may be exploring the city, or you may be focused on your work. It may be a creative endeavor, it can be a very analytical kind of math endeavor, or it can even be you working out. If you're completely focused upon it, and if you have that passion for it, your mind and your heart kind of gets aligned. And when this alignment happens, there's magic. Flow state just unlocks, and you kind of can focus into that simple task or that complicated task for hours and hours and hours, and you won't even feel like time is going by. Like you can be working on something for 8 hours, and you look up, you'll see the clock, and you'll be like, oh my God, 8 hours have gone by, and you would have got so much done in that 8 hours. Now that is essentially flow state. Now, why do you really need flow state? Is because when you are in this flow state, you are not thinking. It's like you're getting this higher spiritual download. This universe kind of flows through you, and many musicians, artists, and actors kind of mention this in their interviews. Like if you go watch their interviews, they say, I didn't write this song. It wasn't me who was acting in this movie. And you're like, what? It wasn't you? Then who's that that we see on the stage performing? Who's that who kind of acted in that movie? And who wrote that song? And they say they were merely a vessel through which they conducted the energy from the universe. It's like they had this higher consciousness download from the universe, and they kind of channeled that into their creative endeavor. Now, why it is more common in actors, artists, musicians is because they are more in tune with their intuition, because all these creative endeavors kind of is responsible and connected to your right part of your brain, and also your intuition is kind of connected more to the right part of your brain. And only when you kind of immerse yourself in these creative activities, or when you tap into your intuition, it becomes so much more easier to attain that flow state. Now, many mathematical geniuses are also tap into their flow state. Even Nikola Tesla, he spoke about this. Einstein spoke about this. Einstein said it in a very funny way. He's like, whenever you make love with a woman or any partner, 30 minutes feels like 3 minutes. But whenever you're going and doing some really hard task, 3 minutes feels like 3.5 hours. And he's like, that is relativity. I don't really know what he exactly meant there, but it kind of makes sense. Because when you are making love, when you are doing something out of love, passion, like you really love it, time just ceases to exist. You can do it for 6 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, 18 hours, and you don't really feel time passing by. It's like things are just flowing. You're not really thinking. There's no script that you're following. You're just there, being in the present moment, and you are merely a vessel. You're just conducting whatever the universe has to come, and you're being a channel through which the universe expresses itself. You're expressing all your energy. You're expressing all your soul, the energy that is tapped, that is stored inside your soul, inside your body, inside your mind. You're just expressing it out in any form of substance. If you're building a business, if you're doing something creative, if you're doing, even if you're just working out, you're just expressing yourself. It's a form of self-expression. Now, how do you tap into that flow state? Now, tapping into the flow state is very, very simple, but very hard at the same time. It is more of a feeling. It's not really something which is logical. It has no like standard of procedure. It has no steps. It has no there's no rules in how you must effectively kind of channel the flow state. You would have watched movies, all right, where 2 hours would just go by like this, and you would have made love or gone to this vacation spot where 3-4 hours didn't really feel like 3-4 hours. It felt like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So you have to recreate that feeling, but don't recreate it from a place of trying to recreate it. It has to be authentic. It has to be genuine. You must genuinely feel love and passion for whatever you're doing. Like you may be writing a song, you may be studying for your school, you may be working on your business, you may be working on your career, you might be trying to learn something new, or even it may be very simple, like you working out. Whenever you watch a movie, you kind of get completely involved in it, right? So try to get completely involved in whatever task that you're doing. And when you get completely involved, it's like you kind of tap into this pocket space. There's a space which I call it as pocket space, where you feel like your logic is kind of leaving and you're just acting out of the flow. And at that point, your ego or your rational mind will try to wake you back up and like, what the hell are you doing? This is not you. And all these judgments, all these noise will start coming up in your brain. What will the other person think? What will this person think if you say this thing? Sometimes you may feel like dancing, all right? There'll be music, you'll be out on a public place. You'll feel like dancing. That time, dance. That's how you kind of unlock the flow state. Let it flow. If you feel like dancing, go dance. That's when you unlock this flow state. And only when you have experience in unlocking this flow state for even 30 seconds to 1 minute, it'll be easier for you to tap into that flow state at command. Like whenever you want it, you can tap into that flow state. Like sometimes I'll be writing a song. I like to write songs. I like to sing. And I'll tap into this flow state. Like within 4 minutes, I'll write a song and I'll be like, what the hell? Did I just write that in 4 minutes? And that happens because I put in the reps. I've kind of practiced myself to let go and be in the moment. And that is why it is so important for you to let go of these lower vibrational emotions, let go of the pain, let go of the trauma. This creates space in your mind. When you let go of your past trauma, you have much more space to have this thinking capacity. And when you're not overthinking about the future, you are so much more aligned in the present moment. And when you're aligned in this present moment, it opens up the intuition to flow. And when the intuition flows, accept it. Sometimes you just feel like staring at the sun. You'll just feel like walking around the garden. And your rational mind will say, no, you have to go back home. You have to wake up early the next day. And you'll be walking, you'll see this flower, or you'll see the moon. All right, the moon will look amazing, it'll look beautiful some days. And your rational mind will like, no, you have to go back home. You have to wake up early tomorrow. Hi. How dare you see the moon? Are you not disciplined? How dare you? Shut up and go back home. And you'll be like, okay, fine, I'll go back home. That is your rational mind or ego preventing you to tap into the flow state. I'm not telling you to completely listen to your right part of your brain and be in this complete flow state and ignore all the responsibilities in the rational part of your brain. No, there must be a good balance. You must also be responsible and take decisions effectively, but also at the same time, you must take time for yourself to be in this flow state, because that's when life really becomes beautiful. Most of the things now, when you look back to your childhood and all the best memories that you had, none of them are planned. You never planned for all the best memories that you had in your childhood, that you had even in your adult life. All the best moments in your life were never planned, just happened at the moment, and you were living in the present moment. That's why those memories, those things became your best memories. In those best memories, if you were thinking about your past, if you were thinking about all the problems that happened in your life, if you're worrying about the future, you never feel, you would have never experienced that best memories. So when you look back, you already know how to tap into the flow state. You have been tapping into the flow state unconsciously. Conscious or not, you have experience of it. So what you have to do right now to tap into the flow state at any given point of time is to make more repetitions of you tapping into the flow state. Like whatever task that you're doing, become completely aware of it and let that intuition kind of flow through you. Kind of channel that intuition. Like now it is much more easier when you are immersing yourself in any creative endeavors, because creativity kind of unlocks this intuitive part of the brain. Now, if you're not a musician, if you're not an actor, if you're not a dancer, you'll be like, of course, I don't have any creative endeavors. What should I do? Like if you're working out, if you're doing a push-up, be completely aware of you doing the push-up. If you're watching a movie, be completely aware, immerse yourself. And after you finish watching a movie or TV show or a YouTube video, with that same feeling, with that flow state, go and immerse yourself in whatever task that you want to do. Go and carry that passion forward. Like when you are consuming, an amazing movie, when you're watching a YouTube video, it's really amazing. There's a spike in your pleasure level. There's a spike in your passion. Kind of use that passion. Like as soon as you finish, like you have spiked up that passion, you have ignited that flame. Use that to go and, kind of immerse yourself or put that passion into whatever you're doing, and try to see how long you can go. In the initial stages, it may be like 10-20 minutes and you start feeling bored, but even 10-20 minutes of pure focus, pure flow state is way, 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 way better than being unable to access the flow state at all. So the more reps you put in, it'll be so much more easier. And one day, suddenly out of nowhere, the flow state will kick in. And when the flow state kicks in, and if you allow the flow state and the intuition to flow through you, magic happens. 6 hours, 8 hours just goes by and becomes one of the best memories that you had in your life. Like all the best memories that you had, the best vacations that you went, you allowed the flow state to take over and you did things in a flow. The best dates that you've been on, the best movies that you watched, at that moment you allowed the flow state to come take over you, and just magic happened. And that would have registered in your brain as one of the best moments, the best experiences that you ever had. Like even right now, just thinking about them would make you smile, would make you so happy, would make you so, excited. You'll be jumping around with passion and joy. I don't judge you. If you want to pause this video and jump around, you're allowed to do so. I mean, embrace that. Because the more you allow yourself to kind of express your emotions and feelings, the more easier it'll be for you to not only navigate life, but also tap into that flow state. And whenever you tap into the flow state, magic happens. Like whatever you're working on becomes 10 times better, because now you're taking the power of the universe. The universe's energy kind of flows through you and things just come out of your mouth. Like your subconscious is unlocked, your unconscious mind is unlocked, your sixth sense, your spiritual download, your third eye, everything is kind of awakened all at the same time, and you're kind of creating. whatever you're doing. It may be a creative endeavor, it may be something very logical and rational, but the flow state is magical. Take advantage of it and make your life magical.